Hey traders, this is Taylor with Top Pick Trading, and wanted to give you guys a chart review today. Since Mack's out this week, hopefully you guys can get some value out of this and eagerly wait his return. So let's get started. So this morning we had some tight congestion pushed up into this little range here, and then the 8:30 CPI numbers came out, pushed the market higher. We had a huge sell-off, had a break from that, 2 legs down. You can see we got a measure move literally to the tick, reversed pretty strongly, went in this tight range, pushed up into a little bit higher range, and then we got a couple more legs down with some ranging action in between to finish off the day. So let's see, 8 o'clock comes a little bit before the CPI. Right as this happened, you want to be out for that news. So I don't really see anything through here. Possible spike in channel. So I don't think you want to take this lower high just yet. It is really far from the EMA, but you may get that new high on this spike in channel break first. Going back to the EMA, you get a second entry here, but it's really congested, and this move down is pretty strong, so I think you want to wait. Pushes lower, confirms the trend line here. Looks like it maybe overshoots a little bit. Get a second entry, but a terrible bar there. Pushes lower. Now we have a new low from this channel. Breaks back to the EMA. First entry pushes it lower. Kind of fall over into this range here. Bounced several times off this, but we're still making lower lows overall, so I don't think you want to buy into this support just yet. We push up one more time. And really this looks more like a triple test here. This would just be your second touch, so this doesn't confirm the key entry point yet. This is almost like a little visual second entry, but not quite so clear. We didn't break above on this bar here, so I don't think you want to take that. Pushes lower again. You can see the support held momentarily and then finally pushed it lower. We confirm this downtrend here. Pushes lower, holds pretty well. We get a break in the first entry short. Then we get a second entry way up here, right at the key entry point. The move up, let me zoom in a little bit. The move up, pretty strong. A lot of times you don't necessarily care as much about that second leg, but with this strength here, you know, far from the EMA, only 5 ticks. If you're aggressive, maybe you want to take that since it's right at the key entry point, but I'm going to wait personally because this trend's clearly in play here. This may be treated more like a double bottom, and so I don't think you'd necessarily want to take that short yet. Get a lower high here after it turns off that key entry point, but congested and the bar's not great, finishes above the EMA. Pushes lower. You can see now we're getting some more range type behavior, big up, big down, big up. Push higher here. EMA is not really holding either way now since we pushed out of this range here. We push higher here. No setup, everything's so far from the EMA. Push below the EMA after this breaking new high. We push up to this resistance level. Rockets lower again. This lower high second entry short is actually pretty tempting. You may want to take this for a small scalp. You probably want to get out before this low. Maybe 6 ticks or so. I'll mark this aggressively. EMA is not really holding, but this is the second time off of this. Resistance level. The uptrends have all played out. This bar had some good strength here, and then so did the signal bar. It's probably going to trap some longs who took a higher low there. And plus, keep in mind, this big downtrend needs a retest. So this is the first break here. So maybe you take that one. Would have been a nice little scalp. We push back up one more time, and now we get like one of the clearest triple tests you'll see. Notice each time we hit this resistance level, it was making lower lows, so you can see how it rockets off, comes back, rockets off even stronger. So then we rocket back, come back up that third time. Probably going to rocket off pretty hard when we get the strong bar. There is a decent bullish push up here, but no trend fits really well. You can see how that none of that fits tightly to prices. So unfortunately, I marked it orange. That means that the signal bar is not necessarily good enough. If this was a better signal bar with a little bit more room to the EMA, I think maybe you take the chance on this one. I don't know if you want to take the engulfing because it's right into the EMA. And then by the time it closes, it backs up. But if you got a good bar here, I think you take this trade definitely. You'll probably get a retest on this move too. So it does end up pushing lower. Comes back to the EMA. You don't get a good lower high there. Rocket's lower. No setup. We get a second entry here. Terrible bar. Micro trend's pretty strong. So I don't think you can take anything there. Which is lower. And now we've got the new low on this downtrend. And we're testing this major level right around this area. You can see it bounced here right at that 830 news item. So this general area, not necessarily exactly where I drew it, but around this area there's some temporary support. We got to be careful. We get this huge bullish bar here. It's been so downhill, I don't think you want to buy it, but I don't think you want to sell into it either. So we come up, we get a second entry here, a little inside bar, so not a setup. Then we get this like third entry. It is kind of, could be seen as like a triple test. Tested it once, twice, then kind of a third time here. But it's so congested. Really good signal bar, but it doesn't mean as much of that congestion. And since it's a third entry, I'm not going to mark it. If you took a chance there, I understand why. But both downtrends potentially have played out, and a lot of congestion there on the third entry. So, and it made a higher high from this little swing here. So, yeah, so it ends up working. Pushes a lot lower. Get a break and new low right here, but then we just kind of chop sideways. I don't really see anything through here. It's just kind of off really far from the EMA, and all the downtrends have potentially played out. Drop down, you can see we hit that measure move. I mean, literally to the tick here. Couldn't get any closer. Bounces straight out of there. We get a higher low right into the EMA. No fail second entry forms. Push all the way up. No setups. Goes back to the EMA here. Technically get a second entry, but this is your signal bar, and it's so sideways, so no setup there. Pushes higher. Floats so far from the EMA, nothing through here. Notice all the consecutive bull bars, so we're definitely in an uptrend now. I drew this bigger trend here. Never really gets confirmation, so take that for what you will. The EMA is holding, so if we get a good bar at the EMA with a good local price action, you probably want to consider it. We do get that second entry here right at the EMA on what could be the first break of this. Let me also show you the measure move on this, and you can see we corrected once again. Within a tick or so, that measure move maybe went an extra tick. We get the second entry. This is a little congested, and it looks like one leg down. I marked it as a little bit more aggressive because usually you'll get a bigger correction on a break like this than just a couple bars. But this move up was pretty strong, so taking a perfect bar of the EMA, understand that. You can see you would have survived by a tick, and if you got out near these highs, you could have gotten a scalp out of it. But when it backed up like this, it tells you that the EMA is not as strong as you probably thought. You get like this technically equal low here, but bar is not all that good. So I don't think you can take that. Pushes up to the highs, come back. You get like a triple or quadruple test. Tested it once here, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and also this is a double top, so you get a first entry, second entry. So clear range rules here, really good bar. I like this trade. Right it to the highs. And we're in overall upward bias, so I don't think you want to short this. It made a higher high. Got a really good bar there, but I don't think you want to short that. We come back down to the EMA. You get a really good bar on like a higher low, but this looks more like range rules now, and we're just right in the middle of this range, so I don't think you want to take this. Pushes higher again. You get a failed second entry short, technically by the count, but this doesn't really look like a failure. It sets up in the wrong spot. So again, no setup there. Pushes way higher. Now we've got this big move up, a couple legs of correction, then another new high. So you can notice through this area the EMA didn't really hold, but there was still an upward bias. So we're just waiting for prices to come back to the EMA and see if this bluish uptrend wants to get the retest. Comes back to the EMA, you get a first entry, second entry. Unfortunately, terrible bars. This is your signal bar. So no setup. You do get the retest there. Pushes back down at this level. You get a lower high, but way too low. get a second entry, but this is just all no man's land. And we start kind of just going sideways. This move down had a break and a couple days of correction here, and then the new low. And this is a triple test, really far from the EMA. So honestly, this one's pretty tempting too. You can see, tested it once, twice, 3 times. There's a good bit of gap in here. I want to see how long this was. So this is almost an hour gap, so that makes me a little more hesitant on it. It's just the first entry too. So if you aggressively took that, I understand why, but I didn't mark it. Just because the time in between these two support levels was an hour between here and here. So anyway, it does work, pushes higher, get a failure, but this looks more like range rules, so I don't think you want to take anything in the middle of this range. Pushes up here, get a break from this tight trend, new high, sells back off, just kind of in no man's land again. Come down, you get a first entry, breaks lower, second entry, so it's a higher low. Now we're testing this same support level again, so we got 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests, almost a 5th test on a second entry higher low. I really like that trade there. Would have worked really nicely. Pushes back up to the highs. You get a break new high, no setup at the highs of this. Push lower, you get a lower high here. You know, tempting, thinking you may go back to the lows, but we're right back in the middle of this range. So I don't think you risk that. It's just, you know, we traded up into this range, so taking a lower high in the middle of it is just kind of risky in my opinion. It does work, pushes way lower. All the way down to here, no setup, just stays so far from the EMA. This channel got moved a little bit on me. Gets the break, you get a second entry, but so far from the EMA. You get the new low, comes down again. Pushes back up. We do have the new low of this, but you can clearly see this resistance level tested it once, twice, 3 times, almost a 4th time on a lower high after a first entry, second entry. It is a little sideways here, but the bias is still pretty down. A little aggressive, but you know, you may be able to get out before this low, get 2.5 points or so. So if you want to take that one, it just looks a little congested. That's the main reason I don't like it. But you get this big bearish bar before, and then you get this nice setup bar that pushes right into the EMA with a good signal bar. So locally, it looks pretty good, barring that you're not looking at that congestion. So that's why it's green. It does drop lower. You got the scalp easily. Drops below this support level here, pushes back into it. You get a first entry, second entry, and notice you get the break from this micro uptrend, new high at that same resistance level again. Wish the bar was a little bit better, that's why it's green, but got enough room to the EMA there too. I really like this trade, to be honest. It worked nicely, it drops lower. You get just like technically a failed second entry long, but really sideways there. And now we're kind of forming a new congestion level. It's probably going to trap longs, but I don't think you want to risk out. It's just way too congested. Does work, drops lower. Get like a second entry here. Once again, congested, way too far from the EMA and right into the lows, so nothing there. We drop here, we get kind of like a second entry. This almost looks more like a double bottom, but it's an inside bar, so no trade there. Drops lower, then 330. So yeah, pretty good trades today, really. A lot of range rule trades. We got a good bar here. I really like this setup, but anyway, I mean, you had, you know, the lower highs potential, triple test. There's a better bar. Second entry long. This one's a little iffier. It's close to being orange. Get the triple or quadruple test here. Second entry, high or low, multiple test, lower high, second entry, multiple test. Yeah, just ended up being kind of a downtrend day with decent little uptrend in the middle. Range behavior once the trends would stop. So really fairly clear day. Just couldn't get good bars in a lot of these spots. We did later in the day, but early on, not too many. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you are enjoying the content and you want to know more about price action and how we're seeing the charts, make sure to check out our course, toppicktrading.com. It's taught by the person who taught Marco and I price action. He's our mentor, Eric, and he put together a 23-hour course. It's got a lot of great content in it. If you're interested, check it out on the website. We've got a syllabus that kind of goes through what is taught in the course and the homework assignments and that sort of thing. So yeah, feel free to check it out. Drop us an email or comment on our videos if you have any questions about it. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. Thanks. Bye.